Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Jeff Hansen, and I'm here today to talk about Everton's upcoming game against Nottingham Forest back at Hill Dickinson Stadium. Obviously, the last time we went to the ground, it was very unsavoury, shall we say. Horrific result and performance against Newcastle. Everton well beaten that evening, but followed it up with a good win against Bournemouth in the week. A Bournemouth team were very much out of sorts and struggling at present, but can always cause you issues, can always cause you trouble, and Everton kept them at arm's length pretty much all game and ended up getting what I think was probably a relatively deserved win. So now we're coming into this game looking to try and get back-to-back victories for just the third time in the league this season. The first time was obviously Brighton and then Wolves. Wolves, of course, have still not won a game since then. It feels like a long time ago since that match. And then obviously recently we beat Fulham, then Man United back-to-back, and then followed up with the Newcastle game. And I do think going on a bit of a run, trying to go unbeaten for 4, 5, 6 games, that's really important. I think for fans to give the team a bit of credit in the bank, just to build something a little bit there. Everton are, in my opinion, a mid-table team at this moment in time. And that's good because they haven't been for the last couple of years, and that's all about progress, all about getting better. But teams are in mid-table because they obviously win some games, they lose some games, they draw some games. They probably win the odd game you don't think they're going to win. They lose a number of games that you probably think you should do better in, a bit like Tottenham, a bit like Newcastle. And then you go to games like Leeds and Sunderland where you think Everton should probably get more points out of them than what they did. But again, that's kind of what a mid-table team is all about. It's what kind of defines them, unfortunately. But if Everton was finished mid-table this season, it'd be a lot better than what we've had over the past couple of years. So that's the way it goes. But yeah, obviously Forest brings the return of Dyche as their coach, which is interesting. I heard him talking about it today in the piece in The Athletic, where he's kind of said he doesn't really care or isn't too fussed about going back. He thinks that most fans acknowledge the job that him and obviously the coaching staff did there, and in my opinion, I think that's correct. I feel like a lot of fans should, or I think all fans rather, should appreciate the job that he did at Everton. We were in a real pickle when he came in, and I do strongly believe if Davide Ancelotti or Marcelo Bielsa, for example, were to come in at that time, Everton would have been relegated. And if Everton were to relegate at that moment, you think it would have been a really, really difficult few years thereafter. God knows where we would have been. So that's kind of how I see it. Some fans disagree with that. Some fans think the manager could have done a better job. I think I respectfully disagree with that. I really do think Everton were up a creek without a paddle at that time, and he came in and didn't do perfectly, didn't win every game, didn't constantly inspire, but I think Everton were in a really difficult moment, and he did a very good job to get Everton out of it. We had a couple of bad runs in his full season. We had a difficult run sort of late December to early April. We didn't win a game, which was obviously horrendous. I think it was 12 or 13 games, but we should have won games in that time. We should have picked up more points. Not everything was down to him, and then we ended up in a really bad run too of not winning games, but we still got good points in that time. We still beat Wolves, and we still got draws at obviously Arsenal, and we drew with Chelsea, and we still got some good results in that time, drew at Man City. So yeah, in my opinion, it was the right time to move him on, but he should come to the ground on Saturday proud of the job that him and his staff did in helping Everton get to the stadium, because as I say, certainly the season prior to that and the season before that, Everton were in a real bad situation. They should have done better last season, but not only moved on, we've got the manager we got now. So I hope he gets an okay reception. I hope it's fine, just a ripple of applause or just an acknowledgement, basically. If there's any booing or anything like that, in my opinion, that's a load of nonsense, and that should not be happening. I cannot see any reason at all why anyone would think that's necessary. So let's hope that doesn't happen, and that would paint us in quite a bad light. But at the end of it, it doesn't matter who their manager is. All about us trying to win the game. Forest are in decent run of form. I think they're 2 defeats in 9 since he's come in. Got a couple of good results in that time. Obviously, we've got Liverpool, Porto, Malmo in the Europa League. They beat Wolves the other night, keeping all the clean sheets at the minute as well. Kind of classic Dyche. They've had a lot of injuries too. Obviously, Ryan has been out for a while now. Chris Wood, who knows very well, hasn't been playing either. They've had to play like Murillo at left back. He was injured in the week. Hopefully he doesn't play on the weekend, but obviously let's see what happens there. And yeah, they've been doing well. They've been going well under him, and I do think they will get away from danger relatively comfortably. But we're at a time here where they're also playing 3 games a week and they've not got a huge squad, and I say that's depleted further by injuries. You're wondering, can we kind of pounce on that? But from our perspective, obviously we drew Sunderland, beat Fulham, beat Man United, had a horrific result against Newcastle and beat Bournemouth. So we're in a decent run of form ourselves, but injury-wise we are getting to the point which we seem to get to basically every season, where we get to a point where you've got to put square pegs in round holes for 2-3 games in a row, and it's really tiresome. But that again is kind of what happens with a mid-table team. They don't have the biggest squads, they can't cope with playing 40 plus games every season, and there are going to be older players in there, and there's going to be players who can't manage to play every match of the season. Of course, Tim Boom's now suspended, which is not good, given that he played quite well on Tuesday, I thought, and we're already depleted in central midfield. About Merlin Roll being fit, as we knew that would probably be the case with him. His injury record isn't great. Just again, he's still out, suspended. So you imagine it'll probably be James Garner and Kieran Dewsbury Hall, and have to put Jacob O'Brien back to right back. But then you think, is Michael Keane going to be fit? If he's not fit, then I imagine you'll probably put O'Brien there and bring Patterson back in, who's basically not playing at all this season, whose Everton career has kind of gone off a cliff, really, unfortunately. So a lot for the manager to think about it in that right back, centre mid zone, because for some reason Everton are in a position where all three have become interlinked in this bizarre way, which is just horrendous, and I think that desperately needs addressing in the January window. Everton desperately need to get certainly a right back in for a kick-off and see where they go from there. Jared Bramford will be back soon, which will help with that central defensive issue. But Everton are in a bit of a pickle regarding that, but they still got obviously Liam Dyche, Jack Grealish, Jonah Barry for had another performance in the week where you can see the positives of his game, and you can see him getting there. He's getting closer. You hope he can get his goal this weekend. So there are still some positives, but hopefully we've got as many players as possible fit for the weekend and see how we get on there. So let me know your thoughts down below on the game. Who do you want to see play? What do you think the score is going to be? And we'll see you next time. Thanks, son.